whether you succeed in life depends more on your intentions and not on how much you know. That's the idea that I'm going to explore in this video. I call it intentionality model of life. See, I believe that we live in a computer simulation, and for this idea to make sense, you have to accept this simulation theory that we live in a computer simulation. Now, the purpose of this video is not to convince you that we live in a computer simulation. I've spoken about this before in other videos. And if you keep watching my videos on this channel, then at some point you will be convinced that we are a simulation or we live in a simulation. But let's assume that to be true for this intentionality model of life that I'm going to describe, for that to make sense. See, if we are living in a computer simulation, then it's a video game. And if it is a video game like simulation, then it is a purposeful creation. There has to be some purpose for which it is created. And then our role or our purpose in life should be to understand the reward structure in this game, to figure out how the game is designed to reward you, what actions you should take to get positive outcome in the game, and what actions will reap you or get you negative outcomes, and then maximize your chances of positive outcomes so that you keep leveling up, so that you keep getting success and win in this game, if there is such a thing as final victory. I don't think there is, and there's no reason to believe also. But one thing is certain, that if it's a game, if it's a simulation, it's a purposeful simulation. And if it's a purposeful simulation, there has to be some design. um, and then our purpose in life, or in order for us to have a meaningful life, we need to strive to figure out the reward structure and maximize our chances of a positive outcome continually as long as we live. Now, there are two approaches. There are many approaches to life, actually, but one prominent approach is knowledge based. Meaning, if you want to succeed in life, then you have to get more and more knowledge about the world. You have to understand because the more knowledge you get, the more you deepen your understanding. And then, of course, knowledge itself is not sufficient, meaning you learn about nutrition if you want to have good physical life. You learn about nutrition, but having that knowledge is not going to get you positive outcomes in terms of health. You have to act based on that knowledge. So, action is always necessary. But the other part of the equation is knowledge. So, knowledge plus action is the most sound approach, seemingly. Um, but there's a problem with this approach. If we are living in a computer simulation, then there does not have to be any solid knowledge. How? What is the most immutable knowledge that we have? The laws of physics. But if we are living in the computer simulation, even that knowledge does not have to be solid, such that it will never change. Because if we are living in a simulation, then the laws of physics also exist in the simulation. Outside of the simulation, they don't necessarily have to exist or be the same. Now, within the simulation, how many times have we developed or evolved our understanding of the laws of physics? Newton discovered something, and that was very solid knowledge, which increased our understanding of the world, of our existence. And then some of that got invalidated when Einstein came up with something else. Take any other example. Nutrition, for example. 50, 40, 50, however many years ago, when the food pyramid was put out, that is flipped now. Seed oils were considered to be healthy. Even now, but now the science is changing. But even now, if you look at the ads on the TV, that seed oils are very healthy. But now the science is coming out. New science is coming out, according to which seed oils are trash. Cigarettes were advertised or recommended by doctors even to be healthy. Now that knowledge has changed. I listen to Scott Adams every day on his live stream. So he describes this. So he recently started saying that his entire childhood was falsehood. Everything that was taught during his entire life has been flipped with new information. So he had been living a lie. So the thing is, either what we know today, either what we so if what we knew in the past is no longer true because we evolved in our understanding, because we made new scientific discoveries and uh, got better understanding of things. So the previous knowledge is now falsified, and now this is the new knowledge. How do we know that we have the correct understanding of everything today? Biology, environment, physics, anything, because science keeps evolving and our understanding, we call it, keeps evolving. And what we believed in the past is now flipped, and now we believe something new. How do we know that that knowledge is solid? That we've finally got the true knowledge, the correct knowledge, and we understand the world really now? No, it will change again. So either we are really evolving in our understanding, and that is why our knowledge or what we know to be true is changing, or it's just the simulation that's messing with us. So, back in the time when cigarettes were considered to be healthy, maybe they were healthy. Just bear with me. I mean, it might sound crazy, but I told you before that you have to believe that we live in a computer simulation. Then it will make sense to you. If we are living in the computer simulation, the very purpose of a game is to keep throwing challenges at us, to keep creating puzzles for us. So the simulation, I think, would just change our reality every now and then, such that our knowledge constantly becomes falsified, and then we interpret that as us discovering new science and evolving our understanding of the world. The simulation is going to just mess with us. We will never know the we will never have the correct knowledge, right? And if we look at the history of humanity, that is what we observe. Our understanding of the world, what we know to be true, constantly keeps changing. So at some point we need to understand that it's just simulation changing our reality to falsify our knowledge, and we just have to keep grappling with understanding the world, never reaching the ultimate or true understanding of our reality. Another point is, let's say you have knowledge of nutrition, and in your reality sugar is bad. Okay, you think sugar is bad, sugar is poison. And I've watched so many videos, read so many books, listened to so many people who've convinced me to the core that sugar is bad. It's poison. It'll cause so many issues in my body. I also see people When I travel around, I go to villages, I see people who have lots of sugar and they are healthy. In my reality, cigarettes are bad, right? If you ask anybody, most people would say cigarettes are bad. There are people who have been smoking a pack a day or more and they are living healthily, no problems. Many 80-year-old, 85-year-olds, you would find they've been smoking all their life and they are healthy as a horse. Now, of course, one explanation of that could be that everybody is different. People have different genes, and there are many other lifestyle factors that affect one's health. Cigarette is not the only thing. So, an 80-year-old who has been smoking all his life, smoking profusely, he is healthy because he may have very active lifestyle and he may be doing other things that keeps him healthy. Understandable. I'm not denying that. That's one way to look at life. I'm just saying, just hear me out. So the point that I'm trying to make here, and again, as I said, there is no solid knowledge, right? In this view, there is no solid knowledge. So what I'm saying, I'm not saying that that is the truth. I'm just saying this is a filter. This is one of the filters. All we have is filters. So this is one of the filters through which to look at reality and to understand reality. So hear me out. What could be happening here is if you have got the knowledge that cigarettes are bad, or if you've got the knowledge that sugar is bad, then that knowledge is seeped into your reality. So your reality has rendered that that knowledge to be true. So now, if you eat sugar, it's going to harm you because sugar is bad. But for somebody who does not know that at all, that sugar is bad, does have has zero understanding of nutrition, who has no realization of it, in that person's reality, that's not rendered. So that person is not going to be affected by consuming sugar. And if that is how reality is, then the knowledge based approach is not the most, I would say, effective or wise approach, because then you're always dissatisfied because you can never be sure that you know the correct thing. What you know today is going to change tomorrow. As your knowledge evolves, your understanding of nutrition, your understanding of climate, your understanding of everything, your biology, everything is going to evolve. So it does not matter what you know. What matters is, and now we are getting to the other approach about which I'm making this video. Intentionality model of life. What that means is the simulation may be designed such that based on the knowledge you have, if you intentionally take the right decision, choose the right path, then you get positive outcome. Meaning, now, if I don't know that cigarettes are harmful at all, there are people, right? People who live in a very backward area in the villages, people who don't read books. They just it's part of their life. It's their lifestyle. They would just smoke. Th- Even if there are no such people, just hypothetically assume. And smoking is just an example. So for those people, it's not like they know that cigarette is harmful. It's just their life. They just do it. So they don't have guilt, any guilt about it. Because when you know that certain thing is harmful and you still consume it for pleasure or whatever, you would feel some amount of guilt. And that is the sign that you're intentionally choosing the wrong path. But for somebody who does not have that knowledge of cigarettes being harmful and that person is smoking, that person is not intentionally choosing a wrong path. That person is just doing what that person thinks is right or what they should do. So then they would get positive outcome from the in the simulation. But if I know that cigarette is harmful and I'm choosing to smoke it, I'm going to get I'm intentionally choosing the wrong path. So the idea here is you should always don't worry about how much you know, because it's a never ending treadmill, especially in the knowledge era now. We have internet and infinite access, access to infinite amount of knowledge. It's impossible for you to know everything. There's always somebody who knows more than you. So it's a never ending treadmill. Knowledge is good. I'm not saying don't pursue knowledge, but in this filter of life that I'm explaining, how much knowledge somebody has does not matter. For a good life, the approach that you should have is, you based on the knowledge that you have, you should always choose the right path, and that will ensure that you always get positive outcomes in life. And life is an amazing game. So it's not like today I did the right thing, so I will immediately get the positive reward. No, it's not like life doesn't work like that. But over a long term, over a long period of time, you would see success and happiness and this feeling of fulfillment in life if you always keep choosing the right path. And we always know what is the right path. There is a decision matrix in front of us. Meaning, again, let me explain the decision matrix. I wanted to talk about that also. I missed out on that. So the more knowledge you get, the more your decision matrix expands. If somebody does not know that cigarette is harmful, then in that person's decision matrix, that information is absent. So that person just smokes a cigarette because that person thinks it's the right thing to do after a day's work. So it's not like that person has any guilt because there's no knowledge of it being harmful, right? So, but you who knows that cigarette is harmful because you've got that knowledge. So in your reality, that is rendered now. So cigarette is actually harmful because you have gotten that knowledge. So now it's part of your decision matrix. So now, based on your decision matrix, you are faced with the choice whether to smoke the cigarette or not. And if you choose to smoke cigarette for whatever reason, you will know, you will have a tinge of guilt, however small that may be, but you will feel some guilt because you've realized that cigarette is harmful. So let me give you another example on the decision matrix explanation part. I listened to this Joe Rogan episode. So that lady was talking about microplastics. That um, in the modern day, we are consuming so many things in plastic bottles, plastic packets, containers, and through them, we are taking into our bodies a credit card worth of uh, microplastics, and that causes various issues. One of them being infertility. So now, because I've heard that episode, and if I read up more about that, that knowledge gets rendered into my reality. If I go to my wife's village, people there are backward, the poor. They use plastic everywhere. They would store grains in a plastic bag for months on end. They would keep their oil in a plastic bottle. They would keep their snacks or eat their snacks out of plastic cups and containers. They would drink their water out of plastic glass and really cheap plastic. You can see the microplastics coming out of that. And everybody in our village has 4 kids, 5 kids, 7 kids. So nobody's infertile. How is that? Because in their reality, because they don't have that knowledge. So in their reality, that is not rendered. Plastic, microplastic problem is not rendered in their reality. But because I watched this episode of Joe Rogan's, now it is rendered in my reality. So if so now my decision matrix is also expanded. So now when I go to a supermarket to buy some containers for my kitchen, or when I look at packaged water, when I'm traveling, I want to buy it, I'm faced with the decision matrix, which is different from somebody who does not have that knowledge. So now if I don't have a choice, and if I have to buy packaged water in a plastic bottle, I will have some guilt because it was part of my decision matrix that this is going to be harmful for me, but I'm still intentionally choosing to buy it because I don't have a choice or whatever. So I'm going to get negative outcome because of that. It may be small, okay? Because of course, if I don't have a choice at all and plastic is so pervasive, I can't avoid it. And if I limit my my use of plastic containers and all that, then the harm will be smaller, right? But it's possible that it will affect me in some way because I have the knowledge that it's harmful. And once I have the knowledge that it's harmful, it's part of my decision matrix. And then when I choose to do it with intention, I will have some amount of guilt, which will mean that I've chosen the wrong path. And depending on the gravity of that um, wrong choice, there will be some proportional negative outcome in my life. So that's the idea I'm exploring. Okay. So the there can be a takeaway, a good takeaway from this video. Even if you think this is all crazy talk, even if you think the idea that we live in a computer simulation is itself crazy talk to begin with, even if you think that, there can still be a positive takeaway, and it's that you always know what is the right thing to do for every decision. And if you just choose to do the right thing, then life is going to reward you, right? When is that uh, crazy talk? It's never crazy talk to say that do the right thing always, right? Um, let's say you want to lose weight. You know the right thing to do is to start exercising, but you're not doing it. So you're intentionally choosing the wrong path. You're intentionally choosing not to do the right thing. Do that. If you have a choice between eating junk food and healthy food, you know what the right thing to do is for good life, for good health. Do the right thing and not the wrong thing. You always know what is the right thing to do. So if you always intentionally keep choosing the right thing to do whenever you are faced with a decision, then life will give you positive outcomes. So that's what I wanted to talk about. It's more fun if you believe that we live in a computer simulation. Then it becomes more fun. See, ultimately, it's all different filters on life. There is no solid knowledge. Nobody has true understanding of our reality. People who believe in God, that's also one of the ways to look at life because nobody has seen God. People who believe that there was a Big Bang and then everything through evolution has become what it is today. Even that's one filter. So it's just all different theories, different delusions, if you can say that, that people choose to believe in. I call it a filter on life. So this is my filter on life, because this filter explains everything to me and helps me lead a very fulfilling, happy, and awesome life. So this is just another filter. I think knowledge does not matter, although I love chasing knowledge, but ultimately, um, it's crystallizing more and more that intentionality model of life is the right is a better approach than knowledge based approach.